What's up, my people? How y'all doing? Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having, in spite of our environment and climate in this country, I hope you're having a good, blessed, and prosperous day. I hope you're loving your families. Parents, I hope you're loving and hugging on your children. It's been a rough couple of weeks, and just want to talk about this combination of mass shootings. This virus. I didn't address the killing that happened in Buffalo, New York. I really wanted to try to stay away from it and not express and lash out in anger about what happened. And then this happens here in my state of Texas, in Uvalde, Texas, with this crazed gunman killing 21 people. It looks like 19 children, 2 adults, shooting his own grandmother. There are a few things that I want to say about this. First and foremost, my heart goes out to the families of everyone involved in the 2 separate incidents. There are really no words, as a man of God, there are really no words that can be said to ease the pain for these people right now. You know, a lot of times we try to find the words to say to ease the pain when people have suffered such a great tragedy. But there are really no words. Right now, I just encourage people who are involved in it and who may know someone who is involved in this, who lost a loved one, to just hug them and just love them. Don't try to talk them down. Don't try to find the right words to say because they don't exist. In this situation, you want to be one who just loves them back to health. Mental, emotional, spiritual health. And then there's this for me. I know a lot of people immediately, as soon as this happens, a lot of people on the left, the right, get into political upheaval about gun control. Okay. There should be some gun control, some gun management. Kids 18 years old shouldn't be able to buy military style weapons. As a matter of fact, I don't think anyone should be able to buy military style weapons. No. There's the right to bear arms, and then there is what I like to call deranged, unhealthy habits of owning these guns that you'll never get a chance to use. My question for anyone who owns AR-15s and military style weapons, what are you preparing for? Well, what harm are you thinking will come upon you that you need to use these styles of weapons? I don't think that they're necessary. I don't think that you'll face a brigade coming to rob you to the point where you need to be military style strapped. I haven't seen one news story where someone had a robbery attempt in their home, and the only thing that for the robbery attempt was that they had their military style machine gun and they gunned down all 45 people who came to rob them at once. I've never heard that news story. So, I mean, own what you own, but I just question why people feel the need to own those kinds of guns. I do feel like an 18-year-old should not have access to own guns, period. There's way too much leniency in that. And so now that I've said my piece about that part, as much as I feel that there should be a little bit of control, some control over who can own what type of gun, I want to say that the primary issue in both of these cases is not the gun. I, as a person who grew up in the middle of the hood, in the middle of the crack era, I can tell you that I am seeing a level of evil in these children today. Both of these young, by the way, 18 years old kids, haven't even let life happen to them yet, haven't even experienced life yet, haven't even seen what life has to offer beyond 18 years old. There is a level of evil in these kids that needs to be discussed. If you take away all the guns and you restrict guns where these kids can't get guns, okay, cool. But you're still stuck with whatever's stuck up here and in here. That anger, that evil that's festering, there still needs to be something done with this, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm gonna come back to that, but the reason why I feel that guns aren't the answer is this. When I was growing up in the middle of the hood, in the middle of the crack era, the guns were available. They were there, right? We seen it during the drug wars, the Bloods and the Crips in the 80s and 90s. We saw guns everywhere. So the guns have always been there. I can tell you, as a person who grew up where I grew up, there are several times I'm in the bathroom at my high school, several times I'm in the bathroom at my middle school, and I'm in the bathroom and somebody's checking their pistol, putting it back in their pants, checking their 9mm, showing it off, showing their revolver, showing their 44, whatever they had, putting it back in their pants, putting it in their backpack, showing a little Uzi, putting it back in their back. I've seen that junior high school and high school, in the middle of one of the most violent eras in the history of our country for Black America. But you know what I didn't see? I didn't see somebody take that gun that they had on them and proceed to shoot up multiple people in the school because they were mad that they couldn't get a girl's phone number. I never saw that. As bad as it was in that era, there was something in us where we didn't have this level of evil to just bring pain and hurt on people because we were in pain and hurting. This is a new level of evil. And for all the people out there who thinks it's just going to go away if guns go away, one thing I know about evil, evil will always find a way. Ask Timothy McVeigh. He didn't have any guns, but he blew up a hospital full of children. There are people who've mowed through crowds in cars going full speed, mowed down multiple people, just as many people in a car as somebody with an AR-15. Evil will always find a way. So why don't we stop trying to put it all on guns and invest our thoughts and invest our efforts into finding out what's going on with these kids? Because these kids have a level of evil that I've never seen before. This is some new, this is insane. This level of evil that makes people want to go and kill kids, that makes you want to get into a car, drive 300 miles to kill Black people. This is a new level of evil. I don't believe that it is a conclusive mental illness issue. We've allowed Satan, we've allowed evil, we've allowed spirits in this country to attack, and specifically our children, in ways that we've never seen them attack before. Not just in socialization, in the way they socialize or don't socialize with one another, but just their thought process. Number one, kids totally today are dehumanized from other humans, in the sense that when everything is on a screen, when every connection with a person, significant connection, is majority of the time through a screen, you will be dehumanized, or you will dehumanize people. When you're used to just blocking and deleting and unfollowing, you will lose the value of human life. And I'm seeing that with these children. They don't value human life. They don't care about anything. They have this level of evil and selfishness and self-centeredness and narcissism that baffles my mind. I was watching today, they were interviewing a couple of the kids who knew this gunman. And one of the boys who they were interviewing had a half smile on his face, like he was just happy to be in front of the camera. He didn't even feel anything for what happened. He didn't feel anything. These kids are different. They're not mentally ill. They're spiritually sick. And I said in a previous video, what did we think would happen where we who are Generation X or baby boomers grow up with a relationship with the Lord? The Lord blesses us. The Lord makes ways for us. A lot of us out of poverty, a lot of us out of hard situations, a lot of us out of stressful situations, a lot of us out of rough situations. And we have a relationship with the Lord that allows us to get out of these things. And then we have the audacity to raise children and give them the option not to know the same God who we have served. What did we as a country think would happen? I know that we take pride in our intellect. I know that we take pride in the fact that we have raised the biggest non-religious generation of children in this country. And we think that that's a trend in the right direction. We think that that means that they're smarter, that they're wiser, that they're thinking greater for themselves. But the Bible tells us that when you profess yourselves to be wise, you become as fools. And we have left a lot of children unguarded. We have left a lot of children unable to know where and who they need to go to for help. A godless mind brings you to the point where you kill people randomly. A godless mind brings you to the point where you kill people in general. But when you just kill children, lock yourself in a room, see babies and just start shooting and don't care that you're shooting. Killing old ladies. I was looking at some of the faces of the ladies and the people who were getting killed in the grocery store. And I'm like, bro, these are old deaconesses. These are old women, like the old women who had a peppermints in their purse. You just gunning these women down like this. This is an evil that I have not seen before. And I'm only 44, I'll be 45 next month, the Lord said the same. But this level of evil that I'm seeing in these children needs to be addressed. So I'm encouraging, I'm munching all parents. While you're protesting the gun laws, all of that, that's cool. Can I encourage us? This young man shot his grandmother. Where are his parents at? Can I encourage you all who have children to make sure they get to know who God is? I know it takes a lot of effort to do things for our children that our parents used to do for us, and sometimes we don't want to be bothered. It takes a lot of effort to make your children sit still and be good and be quiet and sit them down and they get up and sit them down and they get them up and they get up and you sit them down and they get up. But the children are worth the effort, because what you have when you just allow your children to run amok is you have godless, lawless children. If you're so scarred by the way your mama raised you, that she drug you to Bible study and prayer meeting and teachers meeting and choir rehearsal, and she scarred you so much from going to church that you don't want to do the same to your baby, good luck. Good luck. You don't have to drag them to everything, but just to give them the option to not know God so they can have, you want them to be raised with an open mind. There's nothing wrong with being raised with an open mind, but all these children, when you take God out of children, when you take God out of anybody, God our manufacturer, when you take him out of anybody, you allow chaos to replace him. And that's what I see in this society with these children. I see chaos replacing our God. I see, and like the enemy does, he is great at disguising wickedness as progress. He did it to Eve. Eat this fruit. You'll be like God. You'll know things. Eat it. Disguising wickedness, disguising evil as progress. Don't let your kids go to church. That's old, that's antiquated. They don't have to know God. Let them be spiritual and search out things for themselves. And yeah, let them search out things for themselves, but give them the base foundation. Train them up. That they'll know, have some fundamental footing in knowing who God is. Because we as America think we're going somewhere. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not left wing or right wing, Republican or Democrats, because I know the Republicans got their problems, but the Democrats too, because these are the most ungodly people I've ever seen before in my life. Every move they make is against the order of God. And they call it progress. Professing themselves to be wise, they become as fools. So I'm admonishing everybody. Number one, hug your children. Pray for your children. Pray with your children. Teach your children who God is. And then there's this. I go back to the young man who was smirking in the camera. And there's something that I've stated before. I may not have said it in a video, but I've said it over the pulpit when I talk about our duties as brothers and sisters to one another. I've seen before, and it's become a trend that when people who know someone who gets to the point where they do heinous things like this, see the signs and do nothing about it. The young man said how he saw guns and saw other disturbing things and got scared and unfollowed him and stopped reaching out to him and things like that. And my question is, why is that the step we make? This is another form or piece of evidence of ungodliness. When you see someone on the verge of doing something heinous and your response is, oh, let me just, you about to go shoot up the school. That's our response. I teach this. When someone is at that point, on the verge of at that point, that is not the time you separate from them. That is the time you draw closer to them to be a real brother, a real friend. That's when it's time to be a real friend. That's when it's time to do some real work in loving one another. When you see someone posting guns and I'm about to do this and I'm about to do that, that's not the time to flee. That's the time to draw to them and save them. But we, time and time again, I see people, I see kids. Oh, I saw a swastika on this Instagram, so I just stopped contacting. No. Let one of my friends that I've known my whole life start posting dark stuff. Let one of the people who I know start posting guns all the time and this and that and the disturbing messages. I'm on the phone. Matter of fact, I'm at their house. Hey, bro. Hey, mama, what's up? What's going on? I see this. You all right? We need to talk about something. I don't really like what I'm seeing. This ain't really you. You okay? We need to talk about some things. I'm calling our friends. We talking about some stuff. That's what's supposed to be done. That's what's supposed to be done. But we are so godless and we are so self-centered that whenever we see someone crying out for help, we take that as a sign to get away from them and not draw closer to them. That disturbs me. And then there is, for me, there's this. This issue is not very dissimilar from the opioid epidemic. I'll tell you what I mean. Again, I said earlier that I grew up in Acres Home, in the middle of the crack era, Houston, Texas, rough area, one of the roughest neighborhoods in the 80s and 90s. I saw guns on top of guns on top of guns on top of guns. I saw dope dealers walking down the street holding AKs on their shoulder like axes, like they've been chopping wood, like they're John Henry. Paul Bunyan. We can go back and look at videos, biopics, news stories, chronicling the drug wars and the Bloods and the Crips when that first jumped off. The guns, the drugs. And nobody called for gun reform when it was us. It was black folk killing black folk, shooting up black folk, Bloods and Crips, or Hispanics on Hispanics. When it was that, no gun reform. None whatsoever. And we saw crazy AKs, Uzis, semi-automatics, all kinds of stuff. Nobody crying for gun reform. Just like crack. Nobody call to get these people who are fiends help, throw them in jail. Cast them away, throw them in jail or die. But since the days of Columbine, we have heard cries of gun reform. Since days of upper middle class white America. And we understand that we had a white man drive 300 miles to kill a bunch of black people. We know we had a predominantly Hispanic school, Hispanic students, Hispanic gunmen in this situation. But my point is, we should have started this a long time ago and we wouldn't be here. When it was the hood with all of these guns that they can't afford, when the guy's in raggedy jeans and beat up shoes and he has a machine gun that costs thousands of dollars, nobody wondered how he got that. Nobody wondered where they came from. Nobody cared. But now we do, and we should have all along. Not saying that we shouldn't care, but we should have cared then just as much as we care now. Just like the opioid epidemic, everybody cares now. Now somebody on this stuff is sick. You, in the 80s, you were a crackhead. Now you're sick. You need help. When it hit the suburbs. And so I'm saying that to say this. We need to do a better job of helping and standing up in situations when it's not you or I. If you're white, it's happening to black people, stand up. If you're black, it's happening to white people, stand up. If you're Hispanic, it's happening to Asians, stand up. And not wait till it hits home. Because now it's hitting everybody. The opioid epidemic is hitting everybody. I know it's it's happening a lot in the burbs, but there's a lot of black people on opioids too. This mass shooting thing is hitting everybody. And these are two situations that if we had treated them properly from the beginning, we may not be here. Who knows how many school shootings we could have averted if in the 80s, when we saw all of these dope dealers with these big guns that they should never have gotten their hands on, we would have done some of our gun reform then. We didn't. And for me, everything that I've said is wrapped in one big cocoon. And that is a cocoon of evil. Now, mental illness, evil. Like I said earlier, evil will always find a way. So what we need to do is we need to fight for gun reform, fight for all of that, but let's fight for the souls of our children, because Satan is taking them. When you leave a child without a God to talk to, when you leave a child without a true living God to know, then all they know is chaos. And that's what's happening in our country. These two mass shooting situations they're just a part of the issue with these children. These children today they're godless in every sense of the word. Not all of them. There's still some good kids out there, but there are too many who should know better, who should have been taught to know better, have not. And now we're stuck with this situation. My prayers, my heart goes out, to these people. I know we're sick of thoughts and prayers. We need some action, but the first step of action we need to take, brothers and sisters of all ages, race, colors, and creeds, is to get our children to know who God is. You can try to fight them all you want. You can try to be Pharaoh, seeing plague after plague after plague, and every time you see a plague, you get stiff-necked and say, that ain't God, that ain't God, that ain't God. We can fight God all we want, but until we return to God, this thing will only get worse. I hope I reach somebody today. Don't forget to click like, subscribe. Thanks for everybody who's been supporting the channel. I appreciate you. I hope everybody stays safe. Hug your children tonight for me, will you? Peace.